Good morning everyone. Good morning ma'am. We are the group 5. Today, first I will going to discuss what is Ecotourism Strategy and Action Plan or NESAP 2013 to 2022. The National Ecotourism Strategy and Action Plan 2013 to 2022 was a roadmap for developing ecotourism in the Philippines. Its primary goal was to position a country as a competitive ecotourism destination, balancing economic growth with environmental conservation and the well-being of local communities. It was created by the National Ecotourism Steering Committee and Technical Working Group with the Department of Environment and Natural Resources and Department of Tourism or DOT as key partners. So first is the Strategy 1, Identification of Potential Sites. The National Ecotourism Strategy and Action Plan or NESAP 2013 to 2022 used a dual approach to identify potential sites. This approach combined guidance from the following government with input from local communities to ensure that ecotourism development was both strategic and sustainable. And here's are the following key points under the identification of potential sites. So we have first national guidance. The plan gave the national government, specifically the Department of Tourism or DOT and the Department of Environment and Natural Resources or DENR, the role of setting standards and identifying key areas. So they set standards for what makes a site suitable for ecotourism and focus on protected areas already known for their unique natural beauty. This ensured consistency and aligned with broader conservation goals. And the next is we have community-led identification. Local communities along with local government units, LGUs, were empowered to identify potential sites in their own areas. This bottom-up process ensured that local knowledge and community readiness were considered. So, in terms of community-led identification, it prioritized places where local people were ready to actively involved in conservation and management. Is site assessment and evaluation. Once a potential site was identified, it went through a formal assessment. A checklist was used to objectively assess the site's suitability. This included looking at its natural and cultural resources, existing infrastructure, and how accessible it was. This step made sure that only sites truly viable for ecotourism were chosen. So, sabi naman dito is, once a potential site was identified, they doing site assessment and evaluation in terms of looking at its natural and cultural resources, existing infrastructure, and also how accessible it was. So, when in terms of identifying potential sites, they consider how accessible it was. Kasi, di ba kapag tayo is nagta-travel sa mga ecotourism sites, is one of the factor na kino-consider natin is kung ito ba is accessible or madali ba natin itong mapupuntahan or gaano ba ito kalayo. And the last is partnerships and collaboration. The entire process was built on partnerships between different groups. The government, the private sector, and local communities work together to identify planned sites. This collaborative effort was key to ensuring the long-term success of the ecotourism sites. So, in terms of partnership and collaborations, they are the government, the private sector, and local communities work together to identify and plan sites. Then, the next strategy is the strategy 2, assessment of carrying capacity. This strategy determined how many tourists a site could handle without negative impacts. So, here are the following key points under the assessment of carrying capacity. First is social aspects. The plan looked at the local community's ability to cope with tourism. It considered how many visitors the community could comfortably accommodate without causing social disruption or overwhelming local services and culture. It considered how many visitors could be accommodated comfortably without disrupting local life. So, dito naman sa social aspects na under ng assessment of carrying capacity, it's about how they manage the visitors within the ecotourism site. Kasi, ang pinaka-main goal nila dito is minamanage nila yung mga visitor without giving a negative impact do sa ecotourism site. Kasi, once na ang isang ecotourism site is nasobrahan sa mga visitor, is nagkakaroon ito ng disruption or sa halip na mapanatili yung kagandahan ng isang ecotourism site, kadalasan is yung mga visitor mismo or yung mga tourist mismo yung nagiging dahilan sa pagkasira nito. So that's why they considered the visitors or how many visitors the community could comfortably accommodately without causing social disruption. So the next is the resource conditions. This involved a careful look at the site's natural environment. It assessed how much stress the ecotourism could take from visitors before it started to degrade. This include evaluating potential impacts on wildlife, water sources, and vegetation to protect the very resources that make the site an ecotourism destinations. So, dito naman sa resource conditions na ito, they assess how much stress the ecotourism or ecosystem could take from visitors before it started to degrade. So, included dito yung evaluating potential impacts on wildlife. So, katulad lang din ito ng social aspects sa kung paano nila mini-maintain yung kagandahan ng isang ecotourism site.
Strategy 3, Capacity Building. Capacity building has training, skills development, community enterprises, homestay and hospitality industry, protection and enforcement, environmental and cultural awareness, sustainability and monitoring. Capacity building in ecotourism starts with training and skills development. Locals and staff are taught to become tour guides, interpreters, hospitality workers, and patrol partners. This is supported by accreditation and certification programs to make sure their service meet national standards. For example, in Puerto Galera, residents were trained and certified as eco-tour guides. Aside from skills, capacity building also helps community enterprises like souvenir shops, rentals, and homestays. Local receive entrepreneurship training, financial literacy, and microloans to support their livelihood. As a key business is homestays and hospitality industry, where families open their homes to guests. National programs give training on quality and safety standard. Like for example, in Sagada, families joined the homestay program and were trained in guest handling and food safety. Capacity building also includes protection and enforcement. Local helps patrol and protect natural areas, supported by training from LGUs and other groups. For example, Bantay Dagat volunteers in Mindoro are trained to enforce marine protection. It also focuses on environmental and cultural awareness, allowing locals to share indigenous knowledge and traditions with guests. For example, sa Mangyan Village, guides share their cultural and ecological knowledge during tours. Pasok dito yung pinuntahan natin nung nag-farm tour tayo, yung Mangyan Village nga. Lastly, capacity building also supports sustainability and monitoring. Local helps in reef checks, get visitor feedback, and join refresher training to keep improving tourism activities. For example, yun sa Apo Island, involves locals in reef monitoring and visitor surveys to balance tourism and nature protection. The National Ecotourism Strategy and Action Plan turned capacity building into practical actions, training and certifying guides, developing community enterprises, standardizing homestays, strengthening LGUs, promoting cultural integration, and ensuring sustainability through monitoring.
So, ang strategy 4 is the sharing of revenue benefits. So, the goal of this strategy is to ensure that the income and the benefits of an ecotourism site is directly shared with the local communities, especially those living there in that protected area. So, the first key action is the promote community-based enterprises. So, ang sample nito is yung sa Puerto Galera. So, some families have homestay and small eateries. So, sa pamamagitan nun, nagkakaroon pa din sila ng income. And the second is the develop business and financial plan, provide communities with access to credit proper planning so they can sustain their enterprises. And the third is skill training. So, it means that provide training for the people that have special or important skills. For example, is the tour guiding. Kasi ang tour guiding, ang mga tour guides is dumadaan pa sila sa mga iba't ibang klase ng training bago pa sila makapag-tour ng mga tourists. So, the fourth is the fair partnership. Example is yung sa Puerto Galera. Ang mga resort dun is, ang hinahire nila is yung mga local residents para kasi sila yung mas familiar doon. Hinahire nila as their staff, tour guides, and the boat operators. So, the 5 is market linkages. Example is in Talipanan Mangin Village. So, their product are linked to the tourism market because first reason, tourists who visit Puerto Galera are bought to the Talipanan as part of their cultural tours. And the second is souvenir shops in the area also sell in the Mangyan, handicrafts, and also the NGOs or the local tourism offices help promote their crafts to the wider market. So, ang other example pa is yung sa Sohoton Cove, Surigao del Norte, 100 Islands, Pangasinan, and sa Mount Pulag, Benguet. So, those examples show that ecotourism revenue is shared directly to the locals by giving their jobs, improving their livelihoods, and strengthening their role in protecting the environment. So, sabi nga nila, when people directly benefit, they are more motivated to care for the natural attractions.
Strategy 5, monitoring. First, monitoring and evaluation framework. The NASAP uses a monitoring and evaluation or M&E framework which serves as the system for tracking and assessing ecotourism projects. This ensures that development stays aligned with sustainability goals. Second, baseline data collection. Monitoring starts with baseline data such as visitor numbers, biodiversity conditions, community livelihoods, and governance structures. These starting points is used to measure improvement over time. Third is indicators. Clear indicators like visitor arrivals, jobs created, and biodiversity health are applied to evaluate progress. This must be practical, reliable, and sustainable to provide meaningful results. Fourth is the frequency. Monitoring is done annually to track regular progress while impact assessments are carried out every 1 to 3 years to determine if ecotourism truly benefits both people and the environment. Fifth is the presentation of results. Results are presented through maps, sites profiles, statistics, and reports. These outputs guide policymakers and managers in improving ecotourism strategies and site management. And the last is responsible agencies. The DENR, BMB, and DOT take the lead in monitoring while local governments, NGOs, and communities actively participate to ensure inclusive and sustainable management.
Next is Strategy 6, Education and Interpretation. First is raise awareness on ecotourism and sustainability. NASAP highlights environmental education and conservation awareness as a core principle. Outdoor recreation programs are promoted to build greater awareness and commitment to conservation. Next is promote heritage and cultural appreciation. The plan identifies cultural villages, museum, handicrafts, and arts outlets as important cultural resources for ecotourism, like in case profile like Cebu in South Cotabato. Tableau women weavers were trained and organized to showcase handicrafts and indigenous culture. Next is train local guides and communities. DOT and TESDA conduct training programs for tour guides and ecotourism workers. Ecotourism training modules were pilot tested in 100 islands in Bohol. 100 Islands out of school youth formed the 100 Islands Eco Tour Association and were
capacitated to manage an ecotourism enterprise. Next is create interpretive tools like signage, brochures, and exhibits. NASA proposed the development of track and trails and signage in Mount Apo as part of pilot ecotourism sites. Also mentioned pamphlet brochure visitor centers and Eco Museum as IEC or the information education communication tools. Next is include ecotourism in school and youth programs. CHAD tourism curricula include subjects on sustainability and international practices, like services like tour guiding. Outdoor programs for students are encouraged to build conservation values. Next is empower local as storytellers and knowledge keepers. Like Case Propel Sapang Bato in Mount Pinatubo, 80 guides and women were engaged in guiding and handicrafts, empowered as cultural interpreters and income earners. Like in Case Propel, Pamilacan Island, in Bohol, foreman whale hunters formed the Pamilican Island Dolphin and Whale Watching Organization, becoming conservation storytellers. Last is encourage responsible visitors behavior. Visitor orientation and management measure are emphasized carrying capacity and site development plans to regulate tourist impacts. NASA promotes IEC campaigns, signage, brochures, advocacy to remind tourists about conservation and proper behavior.
So here's the strategy 7, interfaced with district state administration. The first one is the policy integration. This means aligning the plan and policies of the national and local government to make sure they have the same goals and direction. So, dito sa number 1, the policy integration, ito yung part kung saan kailangan mag-align ng goals at plan ng national at local government. Dapat pareho sila ng direction at para walang conflict sa project. For example, bago mag-start ng ecotourism project, chine-check muna ng LGU kung tugma ba sa NISAP kung yung guidelines para sure na legal and approved yung gagawing project. Next is the administrative support. So, administrative support means this focuses on how local offices help manage ecotourism project by providing manpower, permit, and local funding. So, dito naman ay ang tulong-tulong ang local offices. Nagtutulong-tulong ang mga local offices sa pag-manage ng project. Sila nag-provide ng permit, o gusto ng manpower at minsan pati yung budget para sa gagawing project. So, kapag may bagong eco-site, ang LGU ang nag-aasikaso ng mga permits, nag-hire ng mga local tour guides, at tumutulong sa daily operation ng site. Next is the infrastructure development. This involves building or improving facilities and infrastructures that support ecotourism activities. So, dito naman sa part na to is kung ito yung strategy kung saan tinatrabaho ng LGU ang mga kailangan ng facilities at access roads para mas convenient sa mga bibisitang tourist or mga visitor doon sa destination or ecotourism sites. Number 4 is the monitoring and regulation. This ensures that ecotourism sites are well managed and protected by enforcing rules and limits. So, dito naman sa part na to is, ang LGU ang nagbabantay at nagpapatupad ng mga rules para maprotektahan ang environment. For example, kapag napansin nila na masyado ng marami yung bumivisit or nagiging crowded na yung isang isang site, sila yung nag-set ng visitor limit or naglalagay ng policies para di masira yung isang lugar.